Did you start it?
Hey, all you minties. Welcome back to another episode of Reels Talks with your host, the amazing Amanda, and my lovely co host, the Uncanny Omar, who has taken the Invisible Man serum that Skinner took last week on League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And so you'll be seeing him or not seeing him for the duration of this broadcast. So, hey, everyone, how's it going? And James, may the force be with you as well tonight. We are very excited to do another episode of Was It Really That Bad tonight. As you guys know, this Friday is the premiere 2 episodes of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. And in preparation and celebration of that series, it's coming out on Friday. We thought, let's take it back to the prequels, which for me were the first films that I actually had ever encountered as far as Star Wars is concerned. It came out, this one in particular is the second one in the prequel trilogy, Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and it came out on May 16th, 2002. So I probably was sophomore in high school, I think. And yeah, so we thought, let's take it back to the origins of Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obviously, we know Obi-Wan was in the original trilogy as an older man, Alec Guinness. But we're going to focus on this movie tonight because it's all about Ewan McGregor, man. He's bringing it back, old man Kenobi style. And he's got that awesome beard. I think I have a cool little
He does have an awesome beard.
Yeah, look at him. I mean, he's still sexy as ever. And yes. So we're really excited.
Yes. Is my sound okay now?
It is. And look, he took the antidote, so he's back on air. He's no longer invisible.
I'm not. Did you come up with a dumb story for me? Because I went away.
Yeah, I said that you took the Invisible Man serum that Skinner took in last week's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So this is what we're gonna get.
Nice. Yeah. So I do have a new camera, and a new microphone. The microphone was causing some feedback issues, so I had to go get the old mic. But do I sound okay? Does everybody hear me okay? Do I sound good? We ready to do this?
Sound good for me, anyways. Everyone in the chat, let them know. Earlier there was feedback. There was white noise behind him, so this is a vast improvement.
Yep.
And he looks so real in that 4K.
Yeah, so this is 4K, 60 frames per second, Omar. It doesn't get more real than this.
It really does not. Except if you were in person, and then it would be really real.
Then that would be 3D experience, baby. All right, Star Wars Episode 2. That's what we're talking about.
Yes, that's right. Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones.
So Omar, tell us before we get into it, tell us your story quickly about. Obviously, you saw the original before you saw the prequel. Is that correct?
Yeah. I think most people my age probably wandered into a theater or watched it on VHS or watched it. Anytime you saw the 20th Century Fox logo, you were hoping, crossing your fingers as a kid. Oh God, let it be Star Wars, let it be Star Wars, let it be Star Wars. And 9 times out of 10 it wasn't. It was some other movie. But yeah, I saw I saw the Return of the Jedi with my dad in Peru when I was younger, and he had to translate for me because I couldn't read at the time. So it was in English with Spanish subtitles. Oh no, it didn't have Spanish subtitles. So he was trying to figure out what was going on. Star Wars always, reminds me of my dad and going to the theater and seeing that, experiencing that, and then kind of watching it backwards from there because I watched Return of the Jedi, and then a couple of years later I watched Empire Strikes Back, and then I finally got to watch A New Hope, which was just called Star Wars, which coincidentally enough opened up on May 25th, 1977, and today is May 25th, 2022. So in celebration of that, we planned this for how many years is that, Amanda? Your math.
Wow, you're really I'm 30. So it's little. I'm 36, so it's older.
Come on now.
Man, the beard's already getting to me. I wish I was 30.
I'm 27. I can stop there too. Anyway, so yeah, I saw Attack of the Clones in the movie theater. I wasn't the biggest fan of Episode 1. I went to see it in the theater, and I thought, okay, there were things I enjoyed about it, and then there were things like Jar Jar Binks. So I thought, well, I don't know. I may not wait. Like, so I waited. I didn't go opening night. I went opening night on with episode one, and holy crap! Like that was so different back then. Thank you, Matt. Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you for the math because I'm not on air with beer is not good. For
Um, so yeah, like that was a weird experience going to see episode one,
Yeah.
buying our ticket. This is before online was a thing.
Yep, you
I
gotta go
bought
to
my
the
ticket.
theater.
I didn't get this. Every sit was like every single seat in the theater was filled. I did not get to sit down next to my friends. I got to sit down like next to a guy cosplaying as a Klingon and another person
That's interesting.
that didn't speak English. Anyway, it was an amazing experience. It was weird, surreal. And I will tell you what, though, no matter what, whether I didn't like the previous movie and I'm not excited about the next movie, every time I see the scroll up, the font with the music, oh, goosebumps every single time. I don't care how crappy the movie is. And then I thought, I'm not gonna go opening anymore. I'm gonna give it some time, and I waited a week. My brother went to see it, and he was like, "You got to see it. The end battle is amazing." And I'm like, "Really? Okay, sure." This is my brother Tommy, by the way, who also loved Charlie's Angels, and I was like, "I don't
For
know."
Attack of the Clones?
Yes, he was like,
He
"The
said
end
the
battle
end battle
was
was
amazing,"
amazing?
and I'm like, "Okay." So yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk. That's that. How about you? Did you go see this in theaters?
Yes. So I saw this one. So we never watched, I didn't see the original trilogy probably until well after I had probably seen this movie. I didn't see Phantom Menace. The only thing I knew about it was the Weird Al Yankovic song to Miss American Pie. My, this here Anakin guy.
Wow.
No?
Okay,
Yeah,
no,
that's
no,
all
I
I
know
knew
what you're
about it
talking
because
about, but
I was
wow.
I was like freshman. It was like freshman year of high school, and my mom was a Trekkie, so we watched a lot of
Okay.
we watched a lot of that instead, and a lot of fantasy. So Lord of the Rings, but Star Wars was never on my parents' radar. It
Mhm.
wasn't until this prequel series where it got on my radar, probably because pop culture was more accessible via the internet. And I was in end of middle school, early high school. So of course, Phantom Menace. Only thing I knew about it was that kid and Natalie Portman and young Hugh McGregor, who I was familiar with because of Moulin Rouge, and I thought he was really cute in Moulin Rouge.
Oh my gosh,
so,
you didn't see these for a long time then.
Yeah, for a very long time. So then
Okay.
I remember seeing this because really love Hayden Christensen because of this movie right here, which also has Ian Somerhalder.
I was gonna say
Life
nobody
of
really
House.
loves Hayden Christensen.
I
Oh my god.
thought he was cute, and he's really good. And it's a Kevin Kline film. It was an independent, small
I
independent
love
film.
that when you're in charge of the gifts, you come with the most random. Where is this? What is this movie?
He plays a troubled teen, and basically he goes to live with his father, who's Kevin Kline, and he's dying of cancer. And the kid he's been doing drugs since he was 12, and he's absolutely miserable. And he ends up, helping his dad pretty much build a house from scratch. This house his dad's always wanted to build.
Wait, I think I've seen that movie. I think I've seen that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kevin Kline ends up, I don't
the
want to
plot
spoil
sounds
it.
so awful. I think I've seen that movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I on the other hand was not happy with the casting of Anakin in the first movie. It's hard to cast a child actor.
Jake Lloyd, right? That's his name?
Jake Lloyd. And then when they got this guy, I was like, okay, well, maybe he'll be a better Anakin. Holy crap. Let's talk about this movie. So episode 2 kicks off. You get the font scrolling on, you get the music, you get pumped. You're ready for more Star Wars.
You want me to read the scrolling?
There is something interesting in I think the actually I read it through this time a couple times, and I'm like, okay, it's interesting because that's the way I feel about the movie, like what it's stating instead of what it's showing. But I think the important thing is like Anakin and Obi-Wan are friends, like best of friends or something like that. Don't they say that in the scroll?
The best of friends. Always walking around to get so there. Well, the whole idea is they've become closer since Phantom Menace, right? So in Phantom Menace, he was this young, annoying little boy that Qui-Gon clearly saw something in, but Obi-Wan wasn't quite sure. But now that Qui-Gon's gone, he's taken this boy under his wing and made him his apprentice. And they've developed that, sensei, trainee kind of relationship is very much a friendship.
And 10 years have passed since episode 1.
Yeah,
Natalie Portman has aged so good.
And he aged really
Jedi training would be hell on kids.
Exactly. Well, to be fair, he had a rough life before this as a slave on Tatooine. So I guess that probably factored into that really hard 10-year growth spurt.
Yeah.
But yes, so Attack the Clones, just for everyone's sake, on Rotten Tomatoes has 65% critic score, 56% audience score. So it's not terrible. As far as the movies we've reviewed here on, wasn't really that bad. It's not one of the worst rated. I'll give you that.
It definitely is not one of the worst rated. And I love everybody chiming in and talking about the prequels and their first movies. Thank you for the super chat, Bert. Attack of the Clones holds up as the second part of a 3-part political intrigue about Machiavellian individuals' nefarious rise to power. Yes! But it's done so... Okay, never mind. We'll
talk about that because it's so interesting where the prequels are to what, the first 3 movies where they're just, Indiana Jones in space, essentially.
I have so many issues with this movie that I can't wait to talk about it. So it kicks off with a big explosion, right?
Yes. So there is... so just for the scroll, there's unrest in the Galactic Senate in the Republic,
of course,
and several hundred solar systems under the leadership of the rebel leader Count Dooku have declared their intentions to secede from the Republic, much like Texas wants to. This separatist movement has made it difficult for the limited number of Jedi Knights to maintain peace and order in the galaxy. Senator Amidala, the former queen of Naboo, is returning to Coruscant to vote on the critical issue of creating an army to assist the overwhelmed Jedi, which we really don't talk about until the end when we find out there is an army. But let's keep going. So it opens up with a big explosion of sorts. We have Senator Amidala has arrived on Coruscant, and as they are departing her ship, someone shoots her. Turns out it's not her. In fact, it is her decoy, Corday.
So
who was killed.
Are senators allowed decoys then? I thought because she was a queen, she had decoys. Because now does that mean Senator Palpatine also has a decoy?
Explain.
Is that where the clones come from? And then everybody.
That's how he can be in so many places at once in this film. I think.
I was like, why does she need a decoy? She's just a senator. Okay, whatever. So yeah.
Once a queen, always a queen. I don't know. I mean, they're gonna they love her to death.
That was so yeah, they're trying to assassinate her. They fail, and then
of course
we get a reunion here, isn't it? Where
what's
up, Tavon? How you been, man?
Oh, hey, Tavon. So yeah, basically the Jedi Council is concerned about the separatists and what they're trying to do, basically because they're saying there's not enough of them to keep the peace, is what Mace Windu says, and they're not soldiers, which is true. That's not part of their religion, really. It's not what they're meant to do. They're just to keep peace in the galaxy. And so Palpatine asked Yoda, will it come to war? And Yoda's like, well, the dark side is clouding everything right now, so I can't really see which way this is going to go. And when Amidala joins them after the assassination attempt, while the Jedi believe it's the spice miners on the moons of Naboo, she believes Count Dooku is the one behind it. Because
and keep in mind, Count Dooku is a new character. We hadn't seen him. There was no leaks or pictures of him anywhere. We just see the words Count Dooku at the very beginning, and everybody's talking about it. Again, you're being told.
That's how. Isn't that how most of these movies are?
No, not the original trilogy.
That's
but
the
original
one. But you have to be told in these films, or else you will not understand what's going on. So Palpatine suggests that she be put under the protection of some Jedi she's familiar with. And that's where we get Obi-Wan Kenobi and his new apprentice, Anakin Skywalker. And there is a funny look that Yoda gives him when he's suggesting this, but yet they all go along with it, and that's fine. So
it's not like we have hundreds of Jedis that they can escort her. Now let's go ahead and get the kid that has some kind of,
crush on her.
Oh man, and he's so creepy in this.
Yes. Anakin Skywalker, this film gives a man a crash course lesson on what not to do.
Like
get
that's
a girl's
dude
attention.
I would cast in my videos, like sexual harassment videos for work. Like the way.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
My favorite line. She says, "Please don't look at me like that." And he said, "Why not?" Because it makes me feel uncomfortable. I mean,
but the way she's written too is so weird. Okay, it's when he kisses her hand. When he looks at her when he was like, "I'm in charge of this mission." And she's like, I don't know. She corrects him. She's like, yeah, but I know my, planet. I know where it's safest. And he's like, the way he looks at her, it's like he's going to eat her.
Yes.
He's
like, dang, I love it when a woman takes charge.
And he has this weird accent. He's like, I'm sorry, my lady.
Oh, he has weird. I don't know what they were thinking
because I cannot take that line. So
to be fair, he has that similar I think it's his he is Canadian, but I don't think that has anything to do with
Canadian accent.
No, but it's just like the way the way his voice is, the way maybe his mouth is formed, that he has this weird kind of accent to it. He does it in other films too. You'll notice if you watch a lot of Hayden Christensen, which I did at the time. So
absolutely. But the dialogue is kind of atrocious.
I have my favorite dialogue lines. I have a list. We'll go through that. So it's been 10 years since we have last seen these two. And Obi-Wan, super sexy, got himself a beard, longer hair, really suits him. Anakin is also sexy in his own right.
Is Anakin sexy in his own right? Yeah, sure.
And his buzz cut. But he's kind of creepy. And you can already tell that he has a little bit of an attitude with Obi-Wan. He's constantly trying to
being best of friends. All he does in this film is complain about his friend.
He complains about Obi-Wan constantly.
It's all Obi-Wan's fault. He's holding me back from being the greatest.
Exactly. And meanwhile, he for some reason has this sudden interest in Palpatine, this burgeoning friendship that kind of comes out of nowhere, but that's fine. It's what we need.
We've had some years. We've had 10 years in between.
So we could assume that they might have met in those 10 years, which is weird because he's an apprentice.
A car
and a bar. But he's the chancellor and he's an apprentice. So the fact that they would except I guess if Palpatine was trying to get close to him, he would make his way to meet him, especially if we know from the earlier film that he is the one who's bringing balance to the Force. If somehow Palpatine got word of that.
We don't even know what that means.
We don't know what it means.
Out.
I guess we find out at the end he's the one who saves Luke's life and then dies in the process, so thus bringing balance back. Isn't that what that happens? Isn't that the balance?
Yeah, but then we got the follow-ups, the sequels.
Oh, I know. That just ruined everything. I know. I'm not happy about that either. Anyways, so we get to see Jar Jar Binks again. His role is clearly been tapered down, yes, because of the outcry. And I feel bad because I know the actor who played Jar Jar Binks, I mean, he was harassed after that first movie. I've read articles about it. He was harassed in person and fan mail about how much they hated him. I mean, that guy, it's a shame because it's not his fault.
He was just getting a check and acting.
George Lucas wanted. So I mean,
what's interesting about that is that have you watched The People versus George Lucas, or is that what it was called, or Shakespeare in Love? George Lucas in Love. That was it. George Lucas in Love.
No, I didn't see that one. No.
Okay. So it's interesting because they talk about how much people my age or probably your age too weren't fans of Jar Jar Binks, but whenever people would show our age would show the kids, it was the kids were gravitating towards characters like Jar Jar Binks.
Mm-hmm.
And I always think when I was a kid, I liked the droids, but maybe that was nostalgia. And going back, I'm like, man, would I have been annoyed by 3CPO and R2 if I was a 25-year-old guy? Oh my god, kill these things, please. They're both annoying. Instead of watching it as a kid. So I found that interesting. It was the younger kids gravitated towards characters like Jar Jar Binks, and maybe that's why he added them in there.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to see his role just pretty much
Reduced.
be completely minimal in this movie.
And if I didn't watch the third one, but I don't remember if he's even in the third one or not at all.
He's in it for a little bit.
A little bit, right? I think during one of the
just a little bit. He's wearing a different kind of outfit, and in this, like, he is some kind of senator, isn't he? For Naboo.
He is. He's a representative, and later on, as we find out, he's friends with Padme Amidala. She ends up, kind of appointing him as her representative in the Senate while she goes into hiding. So basically, when Obi-Wan and Anakin come to, be her secret security Jedi detail, she wants them to try to investigate who's killing her or trying to kill her. Obi-Wan says they're not going to exceed their mandate. And you already see that Anakin immediately starts to make these promises to her and trying to be very flirtatious and also, speaking out against his, going against his master's word. And then we get this awesome look by him where he's like, dude, don't undermine me like with what I'm trying to say. Are you kidding me? And he basically gets reprimanded by Obi-Wan right in front of this girl he has a crush on. And dang, does that not hurt, man? When he gets reprimanded by Obi-Wan Kenobi about...
Well, he's still young, right? Isn't he?
He is. 18? But it's a reminder for Padme, who's much older than he is, that he is still young.
She's
when
like...
she calls him Annie.
Be, what, 28, 29, and he's 17, 18? I don't know. Years are different.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that. If anyone remembers their exact ages, someone let
us know. You what, there was a website dedicated to Natalie Portman turning 18. There was a countdown right before episode 1. So yeah, it was really creepy. And so I assume she was 18 when the movie came out. So that was what, 1999, right? 1999.
She might have. Episode 1. So Thomas said Anakin's 19, she's 24. I knew she was 24. Okay, so I thought he might have been 20.
She's only 5 years older than him?
Yeah.
But he was like 8 in the first movie.
She was supposed to be like 14 or something in the first one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's why I thought it was something like that.
Slow. I thought she was older.
Well, yes, but yeah. Funny enough, on the whole countdown thing, Millie Bobby Brown actually called people out about how gross it was that they were like counting down until she turned 18. And that's the girl who played.
Yeah, I mean, that's just everywhere. That was weird.
Yes. So, also, fun fact, in this scene, we also get to see her second decoy because she gets multiple, and it's Rose Byrne, everyone, who you might all remember from movies like Next Door Neighbors with Zac Efron.
Keep going. Who's Rose Byrne? Now I got to look her up.
Wedding Crashers. She played the really uptight friend. She's been in a lot of stuff. You all know Rose Byrne, but she plays the next decoy for her.
Oh, so, yeah, Rose Byrne. She was in The Neighbors.
The Neighbors, that's what it's called, not Next Door Neighbors. Yeah, The Neighbors with Seth Rogen and Zac Efron. That movie. Me too. She's great in it.
No, I do not.
Yeah. So he
countdown.
Yes, they did.
Weird, man.
And those girls got out of the spotlight as soon as they.
Oh, she was Moira McTaggart. Why'd you say she was Moira McTaggart?
I don't know why I didn't say that. All I can think of
Neighbors, which isn't even a movie. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you. Of all the things, I know. And she may still be Moira McTaggart. Yes.
Maybe.
I don't know why the first thing that goes to my mind was not Wedding Crashers.
Zac Efron.
God, I should have ate before I drank this beer. What the heck?
Nah, it'll make this review more fun. Okay, so anyway, we have established that Anakin's in love with Padme. Padme is like, I can't. I'm a senator, and Jedi.
We'll talk about that later, but yes.
Oh, okay. And Jedi's and we established that Jedi's they're like priests, right? They're not supposed to love. They're not supposed to find it because I assume that makes sense, right? Like love can lead down a weird dark path. Like you may have to question your morals and beliefs for love. Yeah. So that I get that.
Well, and the whole idea of attachment, and I know a lot of religions like Hinduism, I believe, or it's a Buddhism. I'm sorry. I think, correct me if I'm wrong. One of them, it's like, get away, leave your attachments behind. That's the only way you can inner peace and focus on yourself and focus on the positive thoughts. So attachments are bad. And obviously love is an attachment to something. But I do like in this scene, she does say, perhaps merely your presence, the mystery surrounding this threat will be revealed. Like, that's a lot of, some of the dialogue choices are amazing. So anyways, so they, so at this point, we also get our first introduction to Django Fett, who we later see in the Boba Fett series as same actor, just playing his son clone as an Boba Fett later on. And he is giving a assassin some type of container, and it has this little worm thing in it that she takes and to a droid that then delivers it to Padme's room in the middle of the night. Meanwhile, Anakin and Obi-Wan are outside of her door, and the cameras are turned off, and he says the creepy line where he says, I don't think she liked me watching her. Yep, you're right. You're right.
Like, if you think like some shots from different sequences, like you can make a creepo movie about just Anakin creeping all over.
Yes. I bet someone has done that, and I would love to see it if they have. So, of course, this leads to, but they do sense that something is bad happening in her room. They burst into her room. This worm thing's about to, I guess, bite her and poison her. And Anakin manages to kill it. Obi-Wan goes and chases the droid down that's escaping. It's like a little mobile droid. And of course, then Anakin has to jump in a speeder, and he has to go and track down his master. And then we get, some fun banter back and forth about how long it takes him to pick out a speeder. And we get, nope, that's not it. Then we get this one right here where he tells him to slow down because he doesn't like to fly in the speeders. So we have a little back and forth. They follow the assassin all the way to the Outlander Club, where also, meanwhile,
that's where George Lucas's daughter is.
Huh?
That's where George Lucas's daughter is.
Oh, is she in that?
Yeah, she played the cameo. And that's where NSYNC was supposed to be. The biggest rumor around the internet at that time was that NSYNC was going to make a cameo in this movie, and it was in that scene. Because
maybe that's why I went to go see the film.
Two of them were like huge Star Wars fans. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh man. I remember thinking, I really hope that they are Jedi that end up dying if they are going to show up in this movie. But they did not make the cut, but his daughter did.
Hey, that's more important.
Obi-Wan mullet is so hot.
It is. I agree. Only man who can make a mullet hot. And during this time,
Joe Dirt? I'm sorry.
Yeah, still no, not sorry, David Spade. Still, Ewan McGregor's mullet, top notch. So so in the meantime, while he's at the Outlander Club, before he finds the assassin, he does have time to change a man's life and tell him that he needs to stop dealing death sticks and contemplate what he's doing in his life and turn a different direction. So Obi-Wan saving
I did like that, using the
one
Force
at a time, using the Force to change the guy's mind.
To make him stop smoking those death sticks.
Death sticks.
Ahmed Best is in that bar scene without the Jar Jar costume. Oh, okay. I didn't notice that.
Yes. I didn't know that.
Anakin had a mullet in the third one. He had a mullet in the third one. That's when you know you've gone pure evil. Well,
when you get that.
Yeah, I found this part interesting that why did Django Fett need to hire an assassin if he's an assassin?
Himself. Yeah.
And why did the assassin send a little droid with worms? Like, why are you hiring these people that obviously can't do their jobs right?
No.
That even watching that in the theater, I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense because that assassin hired that assassin, and that assassin killed this assassin. So obviously he's really good at this. Why didn't he just go and kill Padme? Oh, that's right, because we wouldn't have a movie.
Because we were waiting for him to say, I guess I'm going to do it myself, and then get the Infinity Gauntlet. I mean, we were just waiting.
Wow. I can't wait to mash up everything. Can we rank the best mullet in a movie or TV show? Yeah, Joe Dirt, one of the greatest movies, and mullets anywhere. But we can talk about that soon. We can talk about that soon.
That'll be part of one of our episodes, I'm sure. So they do manage to find the assassin, but she ends up getting killed by Django Fett because basically he's right, she's pointless. So he kills her with a dart, and now they're back to square one. Huh?
there was a toy to sell too. That's the thing.
Oh yeah,
like
that's
a
true.
lot of it's the merchandising when it comes to a lot of these things.
Isn't that how the original Star Wars kind of went?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. They didn't know how big it was going to be, though. Keeping your hands clean, okay, that makes sense. Django was a new father. That takes a lot of time, but he still went out there to go and kill. Anyway, to, I guess, oversee the project. He didn't trust her to do it, right? Maybe that's why.
Yeah, exactly. So now that they realize that someone
Sidious got Dooku to get Django, to get the shapeshifter, to get the droid, to get the little worms, to go and kill Padme, and nobody was successful in this.
I'm assuming he's the one who tried to kill her on
Love ended up killing Padme in the end.
Love is what killed her. Love and childbirth, because in a technology savvy world,
don't go down that rabbit hole. Let's stick to this.
They can't keep a mother alive, anyways, because her heart's so damn broken. Okay, so this is what happened. Then after this, they decide that Obi-Wan does need to go investigate what's going on after all. So now the Jedi Council has changed their mind. Of course, they don't want Anakin going with him. He can go alone. Anakin needs to stay and protect her. They feel like she'd be safer on Naboo and not in the capital city. So her and Anakin head off to Naboo after she appoints Jar Jar Binks, her representative in the Senate. And Obi-Wan decides to do some investigating into the assassinations, which leads him to a mysterious planet called Camino, which he finds because the younglings make fun of him for, losing a planet, because Yoda makes fun of him for losing a planet, which has been lost in the Jedi archives. It is not there anymore. And again, you're breaking.
This is another scene that I was
going down a path I cannot follow. Wait. Sorry, I did watch Register a lot.
All right, so look. Here's another scene that I'm like, why didn't instead of showing you all these things, like, you have the scene of Anakin and Obi-Wan talking about, like, oh yeah, this reminds me of that one time we did that one thing with that one creature. We're best of friends. So I mean, they don't have any chemistry at all. So they split them up, right? They split them up, and Obi-Wan becomes like this private detective. He goes and it's like, oh, I gotta go find the secret planet. Which was a side quest of just people talking. Oh, are you looking for the secret planet? There must be a reason why it's hidden. And so they go into the library archives. I wonder why it was hidden. And then, we're talking 15 minutes of the movie. And then he goes and talks to the skinny, hot women, by the way.
The giraffe aliens?
Oh my God. I've had thoughts about those ladies for a long time. Ever since I saw the movie. That's a challenge. All right. Yeah. So here's the thing. Like, there's more talking there, only to find out about, Master Syphilis. What the heck was that dude's name?
Seafood diet.
No, seafood diet. Yeah, seafood diet. No, it was Syphidius or something like that.
Seafood diet.
Which, first you're like, oh, this is a cool mystery. Okay. But then they're like, oh yeah, he died 10 years ago. And then more talking and explaining.
Yes.
And you never really see things happen. You're just being told what's going on. And I feel like what was missing from this movie is a character that's like, you would explain what's happening too, because it splits into two ways with your two protagonists, right? That are supposed to be buddy.
But they're not buddy.
They already know everything that's going on.
Yes.
So you go from talking about, okay, you go to the diner, first of all. I even forgot about that talking scene with that horrible CG with his buddy, with the chef, right? Like, they talk for like 15 minutes. They have a good laugh. They hug.
That's why this is like a 2-hour movie, which did not need to be.
It was just really weird to see that happening when, instead of being shown, like, I don't even know the purpose of all that. Like, the secret wasn't that big of a deal in the end. And then meanwhile, you got Padme and Anakin, like, both Obi-Wan and Padme's guard are like making jokes. Oh man, I gotta watch out for him, or she better watch out for him. And the guy was like, oh, I'd be more worried about her. And there's a weird like swipe, right? Like, that's when you know there's a cut and something important happens.
Oh yeah, the PowerPoint swipes. The PowerPoint transitions are
they've been doing that in episode 4, right? 4, 5, 6. They've all done it.
I know exactly. I don't know why they thought because there's no good logical transitions in any of these films, in this one included. Like, I know there was one in Revenge of the Sith where it's kind of like one of those horizon things, and it's just so obvious. Like it's just a weird transition that goes from one point to another point in the plot that don't mesh, and it does not make sense why you would just cut it with that. But that's how this
I think it was just tradition to do it, and I'm okay with those things. Sifo Dyas, I think. I'm not sorry to say the prequel trilogy are 3 of the best movies ever made, and I don't need to defend that. You don't need to. That's right, because that is your opinion. They make the 3 new movies look like bad fan fiction. There are parts of the new movies I really enjoyed, and there are parts of the prequels that I enjoyed. This being a big chunk of the parts that I didn't enjoy. There are things in this movie that I did enjoy, though, which we can talk about here because it hasn't happened yet. So yes, Padme and Anakin are rolling around in the dirt with these horrible TV creatures. So, okay, let's go into hiding, Amanda. All right? And where are we going to go hide? Oh, let's go out in the open where it's just completely wide open. Anybody can take a shot at us because you have master assassins after us.
What? And someone probably would have figured out she's not on Coruscant, even though her decoy is, but they would have figured it out because she also named Jar Jar Binks her representative. So we know that she's not there, but we wouldn't think she'd go back to Naboo. So,
yeah. And then he tells her about the dreams he's been having, about his mother.
Oh, but not before he tells her about sand. Don't forget about that.
Will you do the honors, please?
Yes. So basically, while Obi-Wan is on Camino, where he also runs into Django Fett and has his own little tete-a-tete with Django Fett when he realizes this is the guy who's been trying to assassinate her, and they fight. He falls into the raging seas below this facility that's making the clone army, and we think that Obi-Wan's dead, but he's not. He put a tracker on Django's ship, and now he's following his ship to Genesis, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Meanwhile, Padme and Anakin are hanging out on Naboo, flirting awkwardly, and talking about stuff. She tells him about some beaches that she loved. That's later on.
That reminds me of Robin Hood Men in Tights. But go ahead.
Yes, and she says how much she loves his beach, and he goes, "I hate sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere." To be fair, I just got back from the beach, guys, and I agree. It sucks. But
you missed the best part of that speech, though, is when he's like, "I hate sand. It's so coarse and it gets everywhere, but not like you. You're soft."
Yeah, exactly.
And then he turns in for like a creepy touch.
He touches her thigh.
And for some reason, she's digging this dude. And I'm like, man, I should have taken more chances.
He wore her down, man. He wore her down, and he played to her sympathy card with his mother. So basically, while he's here on Naboo,
she was like wearing all these different outfits in front of him too. Like, no, we mustn't. And then she comes in with this black outfit. And I'm like, what are you doing, Padme? That's like teasing a priest. Why would you do that?
Yes, because she wants to, but she doesn't. She's like, the logical conclusion of this relationship is not good. We cannot do this. But meanwhile, he mentions earlier in the film to Obi-Wan that he's been worried about his
impeccable writing. Lucas definitely has his strengths, though. I'm not going to deny that at all. Obviously, he's a master at. And then there are things I think somebody else needs to step in and be like, hey, you need somebody to overlook your script.
I agree.
Somebody that's had sex.
Exactly.
That might help.
And someone who had like some sort of semblance of a romantic relationship.
It's just a really soft like mud. He needed a writer. He needed a writer. Came in and wrote the Empire Strikes Back, right? Like he needed a co-writer, and that's okay to have in movies. Or somebody oversees the script.
Even J.K. Rowling needed an actual screenplay writer, because apparently she can't write her own screenplays. So everyone needs some help once in a while,
right?
No matter what your station in life is. So earlier in the film, he does mention to Obi-Wan that he'd been worried about his mom and stuff like that. So he starts having these dreams. I think we learn later on that he was manipulated by Palpatine as well in this respect. Mm-hmm. With the dreams he's been having, and because he has other dreams in Revenge of the Sith. But in this one, he's having dreams about his mother. And so he's worried about her safety. So he decides to take Padme off world to Tatooine to go find his mother and make sure she's okay. Runs into his old master. His old master says, oh, she's married now to Cleve Lars. And so
Andy! I like the way that guy talks. Waco? Wago? What was his name?
Wago?
Yeah.
Waco. Yeah, so they go to the moisture farm, which is where we later will see many, many years later Luke Skywalker with Owen Lars, his stepbrother. So he learns his stepbrother. Yeah.
Green Laser. The difference between being a creep and making a romantic gesture lies in the fact if the woman likes you or not. No, the difference in being a creep and a romantic gesture is if you're a hot dude. That's the difference in being a creep.
Wait, but he is a hot dude, and it's still.
And why do you think he got away with punching her going? You're really soft. Watto, thank you. That was that dude's name. Watto.
Yeah, I guess in her regards, it's true. Yeah, but it is still creepy the way he said certain things. Maybe he just did someone say earlier, so he might be socially inept because he hasn't seen this before. Maybe he doesn't know how to flirt. I mean, he's with a bunch of Jedi. Let's face it, they don't flirt.
With directing, George Lucas asked people to direct the prequels, but they told George that it's his best, which is true, right? I mean, it is, and that's why people were upset because we were like, "Oh, we knew what the prequels were supposed to be better than the creator," and I think a lot of that has to do with the hate that these movies got. You know, the Star Wars fandom really tore these movies up. And they never stopped. I mean, if you look at episodes
they did.
7, 8, and 9, but we'll talk about that after this particular movie.
And with these movies, I think it's just now that we're with the return of Obi-Wan, we'll talk about it. Like you start to see people like apologists, if you will, people who are coming back and like, okay, the prequels weren't that bad. And now Hayden Christensen is now being welcomed back into the fandom, and he's excited. Like
enough time has passed for a lot of people, for the people that grew up with those movies in 1999. What are they now? Like, say if you were 5 years old watching that in 1999, right?
Yes.
Like math. Where's our math guy? That's
Matt Gorsh. Where are you? Matt,
help us. Five. Come on, man. It's 23 years, 27, 28 years old.
27, right? Yeah. They're like,
that is nostalgia, and that was your Star Wars. And now you may have kids of your own, and now you are ready for Obi-Wan, and you're ready for Hayden Christensen because, you know.
Well, even if you're people like your age or my age, where we also have kids of our own, but we grew up maybe a little bit more critical of those prequels, but now the nostalgia rosy glasses are on, and we've had new trilogies since then with new issues. So now we go back and we're like, wait a minute, you know.
Well, I mean, there is a thing about treating you have to treat a franchise with respect still. Doesn't matter. Like, yeah. Thank you, Michael Emmett. I appreciate that. But yeah. So yeah, the mystery deepens. Master Sifo-Dyas has been dead for 10 years. Obi-Wan gets kidnapped by
coincidentally the same time frame that has passed since the last movie. So one can assume, I'm assuming Sifo-Dyas, is that the same person as Palpatine, right?
Well, people were saying that was the rumor that they in the script they misspelled Sidious, Darth Sidious.
Oh.
But then why would they say that? And then they rolled with it. It's like, oh yeah, you've been dead for like 10 years. First movie I remember seeing in theaters was episode 1 when I was 6. 1999, right? So Tevon, that's
wow.
I was 4.
Yeah, he was younger.
I'm always younger, baby. All right, Amanda, low key reminding us she and Omar are of different generations. Okay, hey, well, hold on, goddamn minute. Hold on a second now.
Well, we are. Let's face it. What were you doing this came out May 16th, 2002. What were you doing in 2002?
I was married and getting.
And I was a sophomore in high school who couldn't drive yet. Right? Yes. Yeah. Almost.
Yeah, I mean, a different generations, a little bit, right? Like.
Yes, but we did come at the film differently because because of your age, we're able to grow up with it, and because of
Amanda's crush on Hayden Christensen in that one Kevin
Klein movie, and Hugh McGregor, because Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, so you watched this like for not Star Wars reason.
I watched this not for Star Wars. Ended up liking Star Wars because of this and Revenge of the Sith, if you can believe that, which I know for some people it might be hard to believe. But I'll talk about what I actually liked about this movie because, I mean, I've seen this movie a lot, and like a lot.
I love this hot take. There hasn't been a bad Star Wars movie. That is such a sequel bad Star Wars movie. That is a good take, and that is a good positive look at everything. Good. What's up? How would you guys fix up the Sifo Dyas plotline with Sidious and Duke? I don't know what they were going to do. It's a little generational gap, right? Just a little.
Yeah, it is interesting that if you see the original script online, there's way more. They did cut out a lot, like in the beginning.
Some of it made it into the comic book adaptation.
Did it? That makes sense. But there was a lot of stuff cut out of it, which maybe could have helped, but I don't know. Anyways, so they're on Tatooine. They go and talk to Lars and Owen, and Owen's wife, who, for those who don't know, her name is Bonnie Pais. Can't pronounce her last name, but she is one of the she's one of the women who spoke out against the Nexium cult that Allison Mack was in. So,
and she's coming back for Obi-Wan Kenobi, isn't she?
Yeah, she is, which is great. Good
I'm excited to see. After watching this movie,
you're excited
me up to go see Obi-Wan. Like, I'm excited to see what the plot lines are going to use, what characters are going to be there. Wait. Yes. No, she's seen the original Star Wars, right?
I've seen them now, but not before.
She was talking about before.
Yeah, you have to understand. I'm not like, I mean, if you don't grow up with someone who's telling you about this stuff, how do you know? Like, how do you find out about it? Let's face it, I'm a girl with other girls I hung out with most of the time, and I read Babysitter's Club, Sweet Valley High. My mom was into stuff like this, but it was Xena Warrior Princess. It was Hercules. That's what I watched growing up. I watched Star Trek Next Generation because my mom loved Picard and loved Star Trek because that's what she grew up with. She was already in her 20s.
Too is that there was no internet like it is now. It wasn't It wasn't at your fingertips, right? Like,
unless it was a GeoCities site, I mean, that was fan made.
Right. It wasn't like you could see the movie streaming. It wasn't like the forums you were going to or the fanfic sites you were going to. We're talking about Star Wars.
And I was heavy.
I get it. I mean, there's a whole lot of Star Trek I never saw that for the same reason. I wasn't, it wasn't available to me. Thank you, Joel, for the nice.
I think people forget, like, especially for our age, what we have. Like, I think people take for granted what you had available in the 90s and early 2000s because the internet was still new. I was still using dial-up in 2002, guys.
Yeah, ain't nobody watching movies on dial-up, man. I mean, we could try
on AOL dial-up. I mean, that was still a thing. So it's definitely changed a lot since then. But
I haven't seen the prequels, but none of the main movies have made me hate or not see the franchise. And the fact, Last Jedi made me curious and watch the first episodes. Absolutely. I think it's great that everybody goes back and watches them. Omar, I just want to say thanks for being our collected editions liaison with Marvel and the other publishers when they actually get back. Thank you so much, man. She said our age to make Omar feel better. She did.
Well, in essence, we are, in that regards, we're the same in that because we grew up with, we didn't have the internet at our fingertips.
Yeah, she obviously had the internet more than I did. She was on the dial-up. We had one computer in my first year of college. It was at the library. Let me tell you, that thing was always booked up, and all I wanted to look at was movies. And apparently,
and I just wrote NSYNC fan fiction on my computer. So I mean, and before that, it was Xena fan fiction, and I played Jill the Jungle. So it was very limited. And Sonic the Dolphin. Anyways, so
Sonic the Dolphin. You mean
Echo? I'm sorry, Echo the Dolphin. Echo, not Sonic.
Sonic on the brain, baby.
That's because I want Ugly Sonic to have his own spinoff after Chippendale. Spoilers.
Roberto Rodriguez coming in with a hot take. Yeah, it was that bad. It was horrible. Sorry, just got here. Oh, thank you, brother. Goku. Yes, I love Goku.
I
Thank
love
God
that
for
Leo said that Star Wars is the movie that everyone knows. Yes, but maybe it just wasn't
But it
in
was
my.
difficult for people to go and watch it. Like you have to go and rent it. And here's
How
the
would I
thing
go?
that
I would have to
people
rent it at
well,
Blockbuster.
well, no. Here's the thing that people don't remember. There was a thing called the vault. These movies were not always in print, so they would pull
That's
these
right, same
movies
with
on
Disney
VHS.
movies.
Like the movies would be pulled like on VHS for like 2 or 3 years, and then they
Yep.
would go back out to the public and re-release them. I mean, we
Disney
are
did
living
all
in
the
different
time,
times,
guys.
but
Disney
people
did
don't
all the time.
remember those times when movies weren't available. Every 4 years, these movies would come back in a special edition, and you would see them at Walmart or wherever, right, on VHS.
Yes.
Dude,
But
I'm
no,
glad you
so
said
I
that.
just- So I apologize that I did not meet your expectations, Leo, that my parents did not get a hold of Star Wars somehow when I was 10, 12 years old, because if I didn't ask for it, because I didn't know what it was, and my parents didn't care about it, then I didn't watch it.
I
It
never
wasn't
saw the
until
Sonic the Dolphin at Blockbuster. Dude, that was the Chinese knockoff.
yes.
Disney still does the vault. Absolutely, they do. But they do it in a different way now.
Yeah, because everything's digital. But they still do it. I mean, is Home on the Range on Disney Plus? I didn't want to watch that movie with Roseanne Barr. No,
Yeah, like I'm serious. Our kids have no idea how good they have it. Like
they are so
no
lucky.
idea. But you know what? They're also missing out on the, one kid going to the kitchen or one kid going to the bathroom and like, hurry up, it's almost on. You're never gonna hear your kids say that. You're never gonna hear your kids saying, "Hurry up, it's almost on. Commercial's about to it's about to be over."
No, it's pause that quick.
Thanks, Omar, to talk about VHS. Yes, I'm showing my age. Thank you. Star Wars 1977 to 1980. No, dude, I know you better include the damn Caravan movie in there and the Ewoks movie. You're dead to me, Roberto Rodriguez, if you don't include Battle for Endor in those. All right, let's keep going.
Yes.
And then we can review.
All right, so he does find his mother. His mother dies in his arms, and this is where Anakin has his first little taste of the dark side. He ends up killing all the Tusken Raiders, men, women, children. We got a little cut of Yoda feeling the darkness of the Force. Something bad is happening.
That was such a good scene. Like that's the scene that I liked with his mother. Like, why didn't they extend that? I know they had to keep it PG, but when he goes on a killing spree and his mother dies, I thought, okay, I think this is it. This is the moment where we see a little bit of a change. But instead, they cut, and you again are told what happened, right? Like I said, it goes back to the beginning opening credits of like everything. You're just being told instead of being shown.
It was a lot of telling.
Continue.
Omar's upset about the telling, not showing part of this, which is true. There's a lot of it in this film.
I mean, it's part of a movie. Like you want to be shown things.
You do. You don't want to have to be. No one loves heavy exposition, and that's probably what really takes this movie down for a lot of people. Heavy exposition is never fun for anyone. So let's not do it, guys. If you ever make a movie, let's try to shy away from that. Let's show it instead of telling it. So brings his mom's body back, and they bury her, and he tells Padme what he's done, and why she still finds him attractive after all that is beyond me. Dude. She must like herself a bad boy who needs to be fixed.
Let me tell you something. If you're creeping on a girl and you're soft and you start feeling her up, and then you tell her you killed a bunch of kids, and she's still like, yeah, I love you, then you better lock that down, because that is a messed up chick. Like, you just told her you obliterated like the sand people, and he's like, including the children and their pets. What the hell?
And she just like, oh, you poor thing.
And she feels sad. Yeah, feels bad for this guy, this cat, right? Like that
you had all the power and the ability and the lightsaber. Like,
I mean, obviously that is some strong foreshadowing of what will happen in episode 3.
Of course.
But it just still feels really weird, like him telling what happened instead of like, you don't want to see a massacre, of course, but because they had to keep the ratings down.
Yeah, it's PG-13, so yeah, they had to keep it so that kids could go see it.
Charles Manson had a wife.
That's true. He did. I mean, Ted Bundy had a wife in prison. A woman met him and believed him and fell in love with him, and while he was in prison. So yeah, it's totally possible. It's a thing. Yeah, and then we also get this awesome scene of them. So basically, after all said and done, they get a message from Obi-Wan. He has followed Django Fett to Genesis, where they're making a droid army. He also overhears a conversation with Count Dooku and the and some folks of the Trade Federation, who remember are the bad guys from the first movie. And they're making this new droid army, and of course they capture Obi-Wan. But before Obi-Wan gets captured, he is able to send this message to Anakin that he can then relay to the Jedi Council about the clone army, what's going on with Count Dooku and the leaders of Commerce. And then as they're leaving, we get this scene of them talking about it, because she's like, we're going to go rescue Obi-Wan, even though Mace Windu said not to. And he's the one who's like, well, we should follow orders. She's like, well, you have to protect me and I'm going, so you're going with me. And they do this whole scene where they're just talking about leaving, and it's only, you hear them, but it's their shadows. And I guess this is supposed to foreshadow the Darth Vader helmet. Am I right?
I was thinking of like, which
it's just a weird way to tell to display the dialogue for this scene.
All I keep seeing is Padme down at the bottom because you probably placed that in. Now, damn it. That's not my fault. You did that.
I did do that. Sorry. I didn't mean to.
4 shadows. There are only 2 shadows of men. Oh, my buddy Michael Evan back with all the joke.
Oh.
All
bring in the heat. Anyways, so they go to Genesis to go rescue Obi-Wan. Meanwhile, the Jedi decide they need to take a strike team to go also save Obi-Wan Kenobi. And they also realize, or the senators realize, we need to do something about this clone army and what's going on with Count Dooku. We need someone who has the balls to actually, get the Senate to appoint Chancellor his extreme powers so that he can, get this army designated and moving and up. So, of course, they all look at Jar Jar Binks because they're like, if only Senator Amidala was here. Like, she would agree to that anyway. So he's
really,
manipulated.
It's Jar Jar Binks that completely destroyed the Jedi.
Pretty much. It's Jar Jar Binks' fault. Yeah. So he stands up and says, me thinks we need to do this. And
that was really good. That was really good, Jar Jar Binks. Me thinks.
And of course, everyone agrees. And then Chancellor Palpatine says he will give power back as soon as this is all over, this war. And then he commissions the clone army. So then we get
Cole Trevor. Isn't Cole Trevor the dude that gets shot by he comes running at Count Dooku and he gets shot by Django Fett and he just falls and you don't even get to see his death because it's
pretty much
CG. Let's see. Darth Jar Jar. She was fearless and crazier than him. She was his queen, and God help anyone who dare to disrespect this queen. I believe Nocturne just wrote some hot fanfic between Padme and Anakin.
Are we sure he's not talking about Jon Snow and Queen Daenerys?
Also that maybe. Anakin, sorry about your mother. To help with your grief, take this C-3PO droid that came as a package. Not your mom. Anakin's stepdad cut the fat. And the thing is okay, that was one of my biggest issues. I remember in the theater, I was sitting with my buddy Matt. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. How is this happening? How does this man not remember C-3PO later on in episode 4? How? Yes, you can erase the droid's memory. Anyway, that's just a little bit of a tiny little thing that always bothered me.
So it reminds me of being a part of the Harry Potter fandom, and that obviously I started with at the beginning. But then going and watching the Fantastic Beasts movies and being like, JK, what are you doing to the canon that you've written? And what are you doing to these plot points and these characters that you've put into canon? What are you doing? And that's how I think if I had watched the original Star Wars and then watched the prequels, I might feel that way.
A lot of it is just Harry Potter fandom. You're pandering to the audience. You're just throwing things in. Oh, it's C-3PO. Ooh, oh my God, Anakin built C-3PO. What?
There's a way to do it smart.
But really, does it make any sense? Story? Like, no, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Isn't that how the newer movies are too? The way they kind of throw some stuff in there to make
like we should review those later.
After all this. Okay. So
never mind. Go ahead.
So Obi-Wan is captured on Genesis, and Count Dooku tries to get him to join up with him and the Trade Federation folks, but of course he's not going to. But Count Dooku does let him in on a little secret that there is a Sith Lord, Darth Sidious, who has control of the Senate. And of course, Obi-Wan's like, I don't believe you, even though we literally had just seen it happen when we, as the audience, had seen it happen when Palpatine was given his extreme powers to go ahead and raise the clone army ahead of all of the Senate. So yes, that did happen, but Obi-Wan does not believe it. Meanwhile, Anakin and Padme get to Genesis. They're immediately captured, sentenced to death, and as they're going out to this battle arena where they will eventually meet up with Obi-Wan, who's also out on this battle arena, she pretty much tells him that she loves him, and they kiss right before they go out into the arena and meet up with Obi-Wan. These beasts come out. They're attacked by these beasts and have some cool fight scenes with some, iffy CGI. And then the Jedi strike.
Did you just say iffy? Come on.
Then the Jedi strike team shows up with Mace Windu, who's like,
I love this. This is the moment.
Because he can't swear in these films, Samuel Jackson. So this is what they gave him. He couldn't say this mother effing party is mother effing over, so we went with the next best thing.
We had a super chat. Omar and Amanda, show your t-shirts. Wear now with full screen. I mean,
thank you for the super chat.
Thank you. I'm wearing a Goku t-shirt.
I'm wearing it says, hold on.
May the horse be with you. Oh, I needed the sign of shirt now.
It's a Kentucky Star Wars mashup shirt.
Yeah, mine is just the
represent my state.
Dragon Ball Z shirt.
Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
We're all representing a little bit here.
It's what we do. Yeah. Lost my train of thought, but
we have a big fight scene. But the Jedi.
I was waiting for this. This is my moment. I'm like, oh my gosh, bunch of Jedi. We finally get to see it. Oh, this is gonna be the best thing ever. It was okay, but who choreographed this? Because you can't.
It was mostly CGI, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was just people just swinging it around. Like, we just had this amazing, well choreographed. Say what you will about Episode 1, but we had Darth Maul with Duel of the Fates playing.
That's right.
An amazing choreographed fight scene that was like, oh man. And then we get this. People in the background just throwing things everywhere. Like, it was a mess, but at least NSYNC didn't show up, so I guess it could have been worse.
Would have been better if they showed up.
You go to hell. No, it would not.
My like 13, 14-year-old self would have been very happy if they had shown
My
up.
20-something-year-old self would have been like, I'm out.
Because they would have been promoting on TRL, which I would have watched when I got home from school after cheerleading. It would have been great. So I would have been all for it.
Okay. McGregor, any relation to Ewan McGregor? Original Marvel Year Star Wars. Oh my gosh, are you serious? Those things were liquidated. I remember I could have gotten all three for $90 when I went to a convention. And then $100 if they threw in the Marvel UK, or no, the droids. I can't believe those are now wanted. That's crazy that people want those now. That's awesome.
It always shows you things.
Samuel L. Jackson also changed the rules of like Jedi because he's like, I want a purple lightsaber. And Lucas was like, give him a purple lightsaber. And I'm like, okay, you can just make up stuff now.
You can make different colors. Fine, that's fine.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's all good. So the Jedi are heavily outnumbered. We have several die. Mostly like off camera and stuff, but they do die. And while we think all is lost, here comes Yoda with the clone army. And now we have a straight up droids versus clones battling it out outside of the battle arena. Meanwhile,
CG clones and CG droids.
All CG.
All and the CG. Actors having to act with the, like, oh man, all of it, especially now, like even in 4K, even in the highest resolution, it's just woo. because I mean he was filming digitally back then. It was
Well,
unheard
everything is so. Oh, Hayden, thank you for the super chat.
You,
You're
Hayden.
never
How you
too
been,
late
buddy?
for us.
I'm pretty sure the background of one of those scenes in the battle, there's a dude who drops his lightsaber, picks it up, and goes back to fighting. Like, that might happen in real war. And I'll be honest with you, Torsten, we can't get Anakin chopping up Tuskens, but Mace is allowed to behead Django. Okay, so two things. Number one, I actually like that, right? Like, they built Django Fett to be this badass. And then just like that, he gets beheaded by Samuel L. Jackson without any like big battle or anything. I thought that was kind of cool. That I did dig. What always creeped me out is when Boba Fett goes and picks up his dad's helmet, and I was like, "Is the head gonna fall out of the helmet, or is it still in there? Does somewhere this kid have his dad's skull, which is really himself, if you think about it, because he's a clone?
He's really it's not really fun.
Like, yeah." I don't know if anybody else thought that or it was just me, but yeah, I always found that scene kind of weird. Great Manuel Ortiz, great movie. Beyond the Clone Wars. Spoilers, James.
Yes. So we have a big, massive battle. We have all the commerce leaders trying to escape, but not before one of them gives Dooku some early plans of the Death Star. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan and Anakin, they go off to fight Count Dooku, even though Anakin wants to be with Padme. But he's like, no, we have to do our duty. You need to, she'll be fine. I mean, she's quite capable. So we need to go do what we need to go do. But they're easily defeated by Count Dooku. And Anakin loses his entire right arm. Obi-Wan is knocked unconscious. And you think all's lost. Then
Anakin's like, no, I'll do it myself. I'll go after him now. Well, he doesn't listen to him.
He never listens. And he's such an insolent little boy.
Thank you, Bert, for the super chat. Thanks for helping me love Star Wars again. I was just looking for Batman suggestions. I ended up buying both May 4th Omnis and 3 others. First ever Omni. Oh, I'm so glad you got them, man. That's awesome, brother. The head fell out differently from the helmet if you look at the oh, wow, you looked at the shadows. I'm
going to go back and watch the shadows now because I am curious.
Okay, here's the thing. Like, Count Dooku absolutely slayed Savage.
Yeah, he did.
I was expecting Count Dooku to be dark and maybe like Darth City. I don't know. Darth Maul. Because we just got Darth Maul. Now we got Count Dooku. Maybe like a vampire. I was not expecting Christopher Lee. Well, I guess he did play a vampire in those Hammer movies. And he was.
He was good as
Saruman. But it was just really weird to see an old guy. Like, obviously a stunt double doing the lightsaber fight.
Yes.
Yeah, so then we do get a lightsaber fight at the end. That I even watching it then I was like, this doesn't go by what Yoda believed. Because Yoda was always like, you know, the Force is about this, not this, right? Like that was like his teachings. And he just goes full balls out crazy, whipping it around everywhere, like jumping around, like twirling and screaming. And I'm like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Interesting.
Exactly.
But
they and obviously Yoda can have the upper hand, but the only reason Dooku escapes is because he uses Yoda's, I would say, weakness, even though you didn't think Yoda has one, where he knocks a pillar down on top of Obi-Wan and Anakin, and of course that forces Yoda to turn away from Dooku to save them, which gives Dooku time to escape, which I guess goes completely against all of the Jedi teachings about attachment and stuff. I guess he has to save them. I don't really know where it lies. I'm still trying to figure it out in what that means, but Dooku does escape. He goes out to some oil fields or whatever in Coruscant, where he meets Darth Sidious, who calls him Lord Tyrannus. And basically he says, good job, you've got the war started. Meanwhile, back on Coruscant, obviously the clone army easily defeats this first droid army that we see. And you get to see the Senate and Palpatine overseeing a massive clone army, of course, all in CG. Meanwhile, we have Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, and Yoda talking about that's so true.
I would like to see that story. Wonder if the clone that fell out of the gunship with Padme survived the war. Yoda versus Kingdom Hearts Mickey Mouse. It almost felt like a video game. Actually,
does.
A lot of this movie felt and looked like a video game because it looked like PlayStation 2 graphics to this day, man. Ooh.
I never played the video games for these, but I bet they probably looked really similar.
They were a lot more fun.
Yeah, and of course, when this happens, of course, Yoda says, this is not good what happened. It's not good that the clone army has saved us. War is not what we wanted, but it is what we have. And he knows there's some evil force at work. They still doubt what Dooku says about Darth Sidious, but let's watch the Senate anyway. And then they ask where Anakin is, and he's like, oh, he's escorting Padme back to Naboo. And this is where we get our ending scene of the two of them having their little intimate secret wedding ceremony. The only two people there are C3 people. The only two droids there are C3PO
almost there,
and R2D2. So they get married.
And minds erased anyway, so nobody really witnessed this marriage.
No one witnessed the marriage, or if they know if it even came to fruition. Yes. So then the movie ends. That's what we get.
And that is the greatest love story of
ever
our
told.
generation.
Yep.
And wow. Okay. So a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's talk about things we did like. Okay. For me, I really liked. I didn't think Hayden Christensen was that great, right? I mean, obviously, it's a mix between poor acting, bad script, directing.
All yes.
I did enjoy the scene where he was cutting loose and was able to, show a little of emotion. And that was the scene with his mother. And I wanted more of that. The scene, yeah, you're right. The scene at the bar with the Jedi, I thought that was a really cool way of showing the Jedi mind trick. Like the whole, give up the death sticks and change your ways. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I enjoyed a lot of the fights towards the end. Yeah, it wasn't choreographed well, but it was still cool to see a bunch of Jedi at the height of the Jedi. This is the first time in a movie theater where I'm seeing a bunch of Jedi together fighting other villains. That was so freaking cool. Like you hadn't seen that yet. Yes, back then I'm sure I was blinded by, the bad CG, whatever. It didn't matter. It was great. And still, it was cool.
I mean, for 2002, it could be considered decent CG.
Well, keep in mind, Lord of the Rings also came out during those times.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's still, and they still pretty much hold up to this day. So
but a lot of this just fell flat. And those are the three things I did enjoy the most. I see two or three. Three things I enjoyed. What about you? What did you like about this? Music, John Williams. I love John Williams.
John Williams, great score, of course. What did I enjoy a lot about it? Well, Hugh McGregor, big standout for me. I think there's no doubt in my mind of all the things we're going to get would be a Obi-Wan series with Hugh McGregor coming back, because I think he was a highlight in all the films, but for this film, definitely, since that's the one we're reviewing, he was a big draw for me and still enjoyed him throughout the film. No matter what the dialogue he's given, etc., he's a great actor and he knows how to handle it with ease. What else did I like about it? I did like the action scenes towards the end. I liked, I guess, the idea of where this could have gone. I mean, the political intrigue and things like that could have been more interesting, but again, it suffers from bad writing and editing, and so that kind of takes it away from me. But I like the idea of, there's all this underneath, which could have been a whole movie in and of itself, of political dealings and things that are going on behind the scenes, regardless of what's happening with the Jedi and Anakin Skywalker. So that was a really cool plot point. It just wasn't executed well. And I did like Hayden Christensen, not as an actor. I just thought he was
he was easy on the eyes.
At the time I was very forgiving because of things I've seen in prior, and also because I just blame the writers and the director on his choices. But in hindsight, he is just, yeah.
There was another movie I saw with him, Jumper. Was that it?
With Mila Kunis, because they were dating for a while.
He was not that good in that either. But I don't
He
know.
was in Glass, Shattered Glass, sorry, where he played is it New York
The
Times?
Kevin Kline's son fixing the roof?
No, he played a journalist who lied about all of his stories and then he finally gets caught. It was a real life one, and then Peter Skarsgård was in it. He played another journalist, his editor, I think.
I have to say that for any of our shows, I think you've gotten the most gifts for this, and we didn't really use any of them except like two of them. We used a lot of these though, which I don't even know where that part of the damn movie was.
I was excited because I forgot that both those people, and I always thought that Ian Somerhalder was cute because of Damon from Vampire Diaries.
Okay, so let's see. I think the movie suffered from some editing. I think it really could have used an editor to cut a lot of these scenes down.
I'm not a fan of the transitions. I know you say it's part of a thing, but I'm not.
Even that's okay. But the transitions are like you're transitioning from a dull scene
yes
to another dull scene,
like day and night. Like yeah.
I think a lot of the acting, and partly due to I know Alec Guinness, the guy, the gentleman that played
Obi-Wan early on.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, hated his experience with Star Wars. Hated being in Star Wars. I mean, that's what we've heard for years. You know, he's been dead quite a number of years, but for a long time, you know, he just couldn't stand being part of this thing that he didn't understand. Like Alec Guinness, was like, I don't understand half the dialogue. He hated it. Like Harrison Ford has gone on record talking about how much he hated reading some of this dialogue, but George Lucas wanted him to say it a precise way. So Lucas is very controlling, and it works sometimes, though.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened in this. Like, when you're watching episode 4 and you're watching Sir Alec Guinness talk about his friendship with Anakin, and you're talking about, you know, the Clone Wars and all that, there are things that pop up in your head, and I think that's what happens, right? You're like, oh my gosh, that's how it's going to happen. It's going to be great. And he just kind of breathes life into these characters by just talking about this past. But when you get to see the past, it's like,
it's so rushed.
This doesn't make any sense. How are these two people friends? Anakin complains about his master, who he doesn't really
their master and apprentice
really see as a friend, just like he's keeping me from becoming my full potential. Like, he just keeps complaining.
It would have made more sense if they were on the same level and they were both coming up together as Jedi.
Yeah.
But I don't know why he had to write.
Well, but that was over and done. Like, what are you going to do, right? Like, so you move forward with it. But even then, the friendship didn't feel genuine. And the love. Like, who talks like that? I love you. What did she say? Like, she just looks at him right before when they're tied up, and she's like, I love you. Like,
what does she say to him?
Unconditional. I don't know, whatever she says. Like, see, that to me didn't make any sense, because there was never a scene where they're both flirting with each other, and it was always like him creeping on her,
and her shutting him down.
Outfits. They're rolling around in the grass, and instead of saying things, maybe you should just show it. So, hey, we already know. Hey, all you sand haters.
We do hate that sand.
Alec Guinness started only being known for playing Ben Kenobi. An actor doesn't want to be known for only one role. And Alec Guinness referred to it as banal banter. Even Ozzy Osbourne, whose brain is fried, commented that the prequels looked more advanced than the original trilogy, despite happening before.
Yes, that's true.
They were flirting. Yeah, in a weird way.
In a really weird way. And that
I mean, but you never saw it. I'm not okay. Maybe I didn't mean that. Maybe it was really forced flirting that the chemistry.
It was forced.
Just the chemistry wasn't there, right?
They had no chemistry.
Out of nowhere, it was like, oh, by the way, I love you. Oh, cool. So, I can't even fault the CG, because even that,
it was 2002.
That gets a pass. It's 2002. actors were doing their best with what they had
It
to work
wasn't as bad as League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and that came out a year later.
with.
So
But we're talking about Star Wars too. They set the bar high for a lot of things. Yeah, just pacing was really slow, bad dialogue, really weird deliveries of some lines from some good actors. Like Natalie Portman was solid in The Professional, so she can act. But when she plays the role of Padme, it's like she's so, I don't know, it was soulless.
Well, I think it has to do with maybe the dialogue that she was given and the direction. She just didn't, there was not much she could do with it.
Yeah.
I mean, because even people complained about, when there's a lack of chemistry, and we saw it in like Thor Dark World between her and Chris Hemsworth. If there's no chemistry, it's really, I mean, she had more chemistry with Hugo Weaving in V for Vendetta than she did with Hayden Christensen and with Chris Hemsworth. But it's really hard. I mean, there's only so much you can do to force the chemistry and make it work. And I think that's what she suffered from, because she is a great actress.
Mm-hmm. And Ewan McGregor is a great actor. I don't know about Hayden Christensen. I haven't seen him outside of those two movies. Are you telling me you never rolled around? Yes, of course. But that was after I told her that she's unlike sand. She's soft.
Unlike sand, she's soft.
Because that's how you get ladies. Never liked the prequels because they never looked and felt like Star Wars. I think, there is definitely a lot of like going into those movies thinking in your head, like, okay, Star Wars, it's going to be the best thing ever. Like, the prequels, going into the prequels, you're like, okay, in my head, oh my God, I've been waiting decades for this. And then you get like, oh, there's a Senate. Like, they're passing bills. What's going on? Like, that wasn't Star Wars in your head. The Force, right? Like, we haven't even talked about the Force. The Force was this magical, like, religious thing. And then they're like, oh no, the midichlorians, they're like little things that live in your body. That's what makes you special.
Which doesn't make sense.
Which I'm really glad they kind of retconned in the new movie.
Yes,
we can talk about that another day. Greatest movie, with the greatest thing from this movie was the Anakin Padme meme. As much as I love George Lucas, he directed her. There's only so much freedom in that. Absolutely, an actor has before the director limits them into performance. Harrison Ford complained about that. There's only so much you can do. Keira Knightley, Padme decoys, openly admitted she was never told exactly what to do on set.
Right, she was the decoy in the first one, right?
Yeah. People take Star Wars way too seriously for what's supposed to be a soap opera in space. I don't know if that was ever like supposed to be, right? Like he was a big fan of Hidden Fortress, and he wanted to kind of borrow elements from Hidden Fortress and make it into
and the Joseph Campbell hero story, right? I mean, that's essentially what.
Oh, well, I mean that should be about every one of these type of movies. I mean, Battle at Helm's Deep happened the same year. Woo! More natural for actors. If you haven't watched the Yoda Wills arc in Clone Wars, oh yes, I think that is a very underrated show. And it really felt weird to call this movie Attack of the Clones, like
because they didn't attack. What do they do?
They showed up at the last part.
Like, I don't understand. Attack the droids, maybe. Or
I always like the titles that are very subtle. Like A New Hope. I thought that was cool. Or The Empire Strikes Back. You never really see that until like, the end. You're like, this is what the movie's about. Or even Return of the Jedi. Like you didn't know who was coming. Is it really Darth Vader? Or Luke, or was it Darth Vader? Like who really returned? Those are more vague titles. Or even The Force Awakens. I thought that was such a cool title. With this, it was like Attack of the Clones. And yeah, we didn't get that until the end. So anything else, Amanda, you want to add to this? And then we can give her our final rating. And everybody else can join us. No? All right, ladies first. Amazing Amanda. Out of 10. What would you rate Hayden Christensen?
No, not Hayden Christensen. I would probably give this, I'd probably give it like a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10?
Yes.
And please, anybody that has seen this,
yes, please put it in the chat.
So for me, this was my least favorite Star Wars movie. But I'll be honest with you. I've seen A New Hope twice. I've seen Last Jedi twice, and I've only seen Rise of Skywalker once. Oof. And I don't know. I need to go back and rewatch those, and I may change my mind about this being my least favorite one. But this, yeah, absolutely 4.5 out of 10. I didn't really like it. I was not a fan. You know, there are a lot of things I let fly with this movie, but it really. I remember watching this, and it really turned me off from Star Wars so much that I waited like 2 weeks to go see Revenge of the Sith. Like, I wasn't excited to go see Revenge.
I did see, and mine's the opposite reaction, because when I saw this, obviously it got me excited because
Sand out of 10 might be my favorite.
Sand out of 10. For me, I like the idea of there was going to be this story that I could go back and watch, like these characters become these certain characters, and these characters are like, you're going to see this history, right? And it intrigued me. Now looking back at it, being able to watch them all in order, for example, or watch them all for what they are, you start to realize I wish the story was told better, and I wish it was different, and not the way that they're portraying it. And maybe it's because they only had these 3 movies to do it in, and only so many hours, and George Lucas was just like cutting for time or cutting for making sure that everyone understood. And that's where we get a lot of the telling and not the showing. And I don't know, he really just likes government, I guess. Which, I mean, but
that can be written well.
It can be written better because it's interesting, because it's an emperor, an empire, but how does a republic go to an empire? That is interesting, but you could do it in a better way.
7 out of 10. All right, I'm going through here. 8.5 out of 10. So some people really enjoyed this one. 6 out of 10. 4 out of 10. I'd give it a 2 or 3 out of 10. Actually, a 2. I honestly love The Last Jedi. I can't wait. Maybe we should do those one day. Attack of the Clones, 2 out of 10. Wait, what's happening, Hayden? I don't know whether to believe Rise of Skywalker, 10 out of 10. Really?
Not happy with the Palpatine.
Third, fourth best for me. The Last Jedi will be forever dead. Last Jedi was the episode 8, right?
Yeah,
I had a lot of issues with that one. Better than Rise of Skywalker. The sequels are probably the worst. This movie bums me out. Rise of Skywalker's bottom of my list. I love that this is like, people are so different with these movies. Omar the movie is better than my writing. Omar the movie? You haven't seen it yet, Leo. I haven't made it. If you compared it like a comic, this was a filler or the Hangover 2 of a trilogy.
I don't know, but Hangover 3 wasn't that great either.
Force Awakens is the worst. It's just copying. I like Force Awakens, but that was just me. I didn't mind borrowing from
elements of the New Hope movie,
because it did kind of give me a new hope for a new generation. Thanks for rewatching, so I didn't have to. But as a kid, I'm sure I somewhat enjoyed it. That's awesome. Lars, is that a 1.5 out of 10? I think that's the lowest. No. Somebody beat you to it. Sand out of 10. I think it's the lowest grade. Rise of Skywalker ripped off the Dark Empire. Yeah, but not even the good things of Dark Empire. 6 out of 10. And I almost read that as Dark Phoenix, by the way. Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back are 10 out of 10. The rest of the movies are meh or terrible. I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for Return of the Jedi. Rise of Skywalker's OT level's good. I don't know if Hayden's real or not. Also enjoyed Last Jedi. Last Jedi is underrated. It had balls, and it actually attempted something instead of playing it safe and copy-pasting a beloved film. I will agree with that, Daniel. There are things that they did with it, but I remember watching that movie, coming out of that movie, thinking, I don't know what I just saw. Like one of the worst Jedi movies or one of the best Jedi movies. I don't know what I saw. So I have to go and watch it. If you think that terrible love story, it's an 8 out of 10. Otherwise, it's a solid 5. The worst thing about Star Wars, you rank them from worst to best, not best to worst. Disney's gonna find a way to ruin Kenobi, but how? I mean, have you not been? I don't know. Maybe you don't like Mandalorian. I think Mandalorian has been great, man. Mandalorian. Did you ever think we were gonna be like Boba Fett? The show needs saving. Let's bring Mandalorian in here.
Exactly. Well, that's exactly what they did.
It's the best of the prequels. Joe, are you serious, Joe? What about Darth Maul, man? He had like
Okay.
Darth Maul had dual lightsabers, baby, and he had his own theme. I like. Actually, episode 3 wasn't terrible.
I thought that Obi-Wan, I mean, he acted the crap out of that last scene on Mustafar, so I don't know. Like, you're my brother, Anakin.
Oh, the theme. Oh my god, the battle theme in that was awesome. Like, John Williams was on point. I really prefer episode 7 and 9 more than the prequels. Look at Lars. All right, I'm being deadly serious. The only film since Jedi that felt like a Star Wars. I may have to watch Rise of Skywalker again. I've only seen it one time, and I have strong thoughts about that and Last Jedi. Last Jedi number 2 for me. Rise of Skywalker is dead last. AOTC ranks just ahead of Rise.
Yeah.
AOTC, is that Attack of the Clones?
Attack of the Clones.
Rise of Skywalker. Wow, Last Jedi was good until they threw it all in Rise. I have so many thoughts about those movies. Breakfast of Champions, what's up, buddy? 5 out of 10 because of nostalgia. Most of the movie was meh, but Samuel L. Jackson cutting heads was awesome. Mace Windu's lightsaber was the coolest part of Attack of the Clones. 3 is the best.
Some could argue Mace Windu, because he's played by Samuel Jackson, is the coolest part of the.
But Mando was. I love Mando, man. It's been such a good show. Boba Fett's show ruined Boba's character. Oh my god! I know we haven't reviewed it. We didn't talk about it because we were on a break while that show was on. But
yeah, that's right.
Man, how did that show go from okay, maybe there's something here to what the hell am I watching?
I know.
Finally, I'm like, okay, I'm okay with watching Mandalorian season 2.5, saving the day.
Yep, let's just keep it going, and maybe like a little pilot for Ahsoka. Let's just do it.
Which is coming out. Omar and Amanda, if it were up to you, what direction would you take the saga filmography, i.e., the episodes going forward? I will tell you what, no matter what Amanda or I will say, like, it is so hard to please people. That's the thing about like Star Wars or any big fandom, right? No matter what they do, they try to do. Look at Rian Johnson's Last Jedi. Yeah,
he tried to go somewhere different. People
and immediately they changed it. Now that could have been because J.J. Abrams was like, no, the original idea was this. I don't know. Or it could have been because enough people were like, no, this isn't Star Wars. I don't know. My favorite Star Wars story, I love Dark Empire. Like, I own several versions of it. And this is what I wanted to see in the sequels. I wanted to see Luke Skywalker go bad. I wanted to see like a saving grace, somebody to go in and try to save him, being Leia and Han's kids. I would have adapted that. I would have been good with that. That's the way I would have gone about it. But then,
I guess they had to go so far in the future because they wanted the original actors back. But at this point, they were too old to play younger versions of themselves. But it would have, they had to basically everything that they fought for was just automatically reverted. It was disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rian Johnson's good to make his own original movies. I like Shooter? Looper. Looper was good. Maul didn't become a good character until Clone Wars. The show, I like Darth Maul was so one-dimensional in episode 1, though.
In Phantom Menace,
only 20 minutes of the movie. He was in it. Yeah, but he had like the best though, right? Come on. Okay, I can't believe I'm making this analogy. But Brando was only in Godfather for just a little bit. He wasn't even in the sequel. You just heard Brando's voice in the sequel, and it was still such an impact. Kenobi is about an angry inquisitor who's a woman, and her boss won't listen to her advice about watching Obi-Wan. What? Are you drinking, brother? Disney should totally do an animated series with the OG trilogy characters. Omar, what is your Sith? Oh, I never thought about this. Wait. What makes you think she's a Jedi and I'm a Sith? What's up with that? I think Kevin Smith already took it with Darth Balls. So I'm going to have to go.
I don't know. What would I be?
Darth Syphilis. There's mine. What's yours, Amanda?
I don't know. I think I would probably do a spin on my I think I would probably have to do a spin on, I don't know, what would it be? My first name would probably be my D&D character's name, Kara, and then it'd be like something ridiculous last name like
Knightley? Keira
no,
Knightley.
it's Keira Knightley.
Mine is Natalie Portman.
Maybe it could be like Cara Wright Master for like writing or something.
Right,
I don't
Master.
know.
Wow, look, you're already a master in that your own damn name, Amanda. All right, so we got 4, 6, 5, 3, 2, 8, 1, 9.
We'd have to do a whole episode on rating all the Star Wars, which we don't, honestly, we have not really touched on a lot of Star Wars stuff outside of, I know you do Mandalorian when I was gone?
I wasn't going to touch that without you. No.
So we didn't we did. Didn't we talk about Mandalorian stuff episodes? But we really haven't done so we always do comic book movies, right? Or anything around superheroes. So we haven't really delved into the Star Wars franchise. This is probably the first full on Star Wars franchise. Did we ever do a Bad Batch episode? No, we probably talked about it, but I don't think we did Bad Batch. So we should, now that Obi-Wan's out, and yeah, we should really.
Well, I mean, I'm all game for watching a lot more of this and discussing it because Star Wars was a part of my childhood, and then coming back, there's every generation. It's weird to think about how when I grew up there was Star Wars, then no Star Wars, and then we had the Droids show and the Ewok cartoon.
Yeah.
And we had the made for Disney movies, the Battle for Endor and the Ewok Adventure, the Traveler. I can't remember.
Which I'd never seen because we didn't have Disney.
So it wasn't until they brought the movies back in the 90s in movie theaters to get you prepped for episodes 1, 2, and 3. And now it's crazy to think about, oh yeah, there's a new Star. People kids these days, I'm gonna say it again, have no idea how good they have it. Waiting 2 years between movies and then TV shows in between. Multiple TV shows.
And now you have all these Clone Wars and everything like that. You can just watch whenever you want.
Caravan of Courage. That was it. Thank you.
You can pick up the entire Clone Wars animated series and just watch it whenever you want on Disney Plus now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Think about it. If we watched a TV show back in the 90s, early 2000s, unless you bought a boxed DVD set, maybe they'd have reruns or if it goes on syndication, but most likely it didn't. So.
Right. So it wasn't until
so different.
2000 in between this movie and the Revenge of the Sith that they started doing the Clone Wars cartoons. Then after that it was the Clone Wars CGI. Then we had the sequels.
Yeah.
So it is an interesting time to be a Star Wars fan because like you said earlier, a lot of Star Wars fandom, like any fandom, no matter what, kind of turns their back on it. They're like, oh, it's not my Star Wars. Exactly. But then you have people that are like, yeah, I'm going to watch it. It's still Star Wars, right? That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's me with X-Men. Oh my God, the shit that the X-Men have gone through and the writers that they've had. And I still read it. It's a torture fest. Maybe I'm just a glutton for punishment. But I don't know. Some Star Wars is pretty good. Boba Fett was not what I was expecting, and luckily Mando 2.5 came and saved the day. It is going to be interesting to see where they go from here with because Obi-Wan's coming out this Friday. I can't wait. Is it one episode? How many episodes are coming out Friday?
2. So on Friday we're going to review the first 2 episodes because that's what's going to be premiering on Disney Plus. I think they're doing that because of the way it's stacking up against Ms. Marvel that's coming out as well. Because from here, so Ms. Marvel comes out June 5th. That the first full week of June, it comes out on a Wednesday, June 8th. So June 8th is when Ms. Marvel comes out. So Obi-Wan is going to air on Wednesdays. So they only pushed. It was supposed to come out today, the premiere, but they pushed it back to Friday and doing 2 episodes, and then it's going to be every Wednesday from there point forward on top of Ms. Marvel when that comes out June 8th. I think
we got a busy schedule this summer.
I know exactly.
So when does on top of that is also Thor. When does Thor come out?
Oh, Thor comes out July 8th, right? July 8th or 9th. Comes out my sister's birthday, I think, or something like that.
Okay.
Well, we got, I have it on our calendar.
Oh, we got a calendar. Cool.
Yeah,
Amanda, name the
July 8th.
character. Oh, my Avatar. Now, see, Lionheart, that's not even canon, is it? No, it's not canon. Or maybe one day it will be.
I
Do you know
don't
who
know.
that is?
I can't see it from here.
It's a little hard. That is it's Luke Skywalker's lady.
Daughter. Oh,
no,
lady.
that's his girl. That's oh my gosh, Mary Jade, his wife, which is weird because in this they're like Jedi can't get married, and Luke's like, marry me, Mary Jade.
Oh, it's like, when you have a different sect of Christianity that spins off, and your pastors can get married while the priest cannot. It's just that's how it works. I mean, there's multiple sects of Jedi now.
We may throw some Stranger Things in there. I'm sure we're both gonna watch it.
That comes out Friday too, but we'll have to binge watch it.
It's Friday, huh?
Yeah, and I also want to see Top Gun at some point.
Oh,
Maverick.
dude.
I know. Might have to see it this weekend. Might have to go see it this weekend.
Let's go see it this weekend.
It's gonna rain all weekend, so what else do we? I mean, I'm gonna fix up my garage with Corey for a while, but I mean, we could take a break for a 2-hour movie to go see Maverick.
We're fixing what's it called? The outside, yeah, because everybody needs to hear that.
They don't need to know what we're doing.
We're honestly so freaking spoiled with good content from Disney Plus, and we really don't even deserve it. Have you seen pictures of our dude from Karate Kid or Cobra Kai?
As Blue Beetle?
In the Blue Beetle outfit?
No, I
have
not
seen it? Oh, dude.
Oh,
are you on the Mac? Are you on the Mac?
Am I on a Mac?
Yeah. Can you upload a picture quick if I text it to you?
No.
Damn it. Hold on, then I'm going to have to email this to myself. I'm not on my Mac right now. It looks comic book art accurate. Like, I'm not kidding.
I'm going to try for him and what he's going to bring.
Well, he's a good actor, right? How do you say his name?
I see it. Okay, here it is. I see it. Okay, let me save it. Give me a second.
Yeah. Top Gun is worth it. Amazing movie. Second best I've seen this year behind the Batman. Awesome. Going Monday to see Top Gun. Omar, it's canon if you want it to be canon. That's right, baby. That's right.
There you go. That picture?
Look at that is
it really is. I think that kid, I like that kid. Zolo Maridueña, is that his name? Dueña?
Yeah. Oh, he's great in Cobra Kai.
Oh, I can't wait for Cobra Kai to come back, but yeah.
No, he better be back.
About that.
Man, you have a garage.
I don't actually. We do have people who are fixing our ceiling right now. We have ceiling fixers.
Look,
they came all day today, and they'll be back tomorrow to paint, which is amazing. They fixed a leak in my house. So
did they fix it? Good.
Yeah.
The world building in Star Wars is the best part. While every movie may not be the best, it's always cool to immerse in that universe. Absolutely.
That's, I think, what I liked. That's what drew me in, because that's everything I've read up into that, like read other things I'm interested in. It's all about world building, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. So that's why when I saw the prequels first, I wanted to know more about Star Wars. Even if going back, they're not that great of movies for my appreciation of movies now. I mean, no one can say 14-year-old me was a movie connoisseur who had the best taste in movies, guys. But
look where you are now.
You
talking about The Neighbors.
Still, that's not. They did not come out when I was 14.
Want to know what wasn't worth it? The new Firestarter. I'm so glad. I heard John Carpenter does music in it.
Oh, that's right. And Zac Efron's in that, and I feel so bad. That guy needs a new age. Maybe he'll be in Marvel and it'll be okay.
Amanda, I'm gonna go ahead and break it to you, Amanda. You know, you had to hear it.
Yes.
He's too old.
He is
too old for Johnny Storm.
Exactly. He's playing. I know. He's playing his dad in Firestarter. He's too old. I know.
It's a done deal. I mean, he could play Uncle Ben in another Spider-Man reboot.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. He's not that old. Amanda, you went from fence people to ceiling fixtures. That's how she rolled, baby. Happy 45th anniversary, Star Wars, 25th of May, 1977. Yeah, yes, we did the math earlier. Amanda and I figured it out with Matt's help.
Thank you, Matt, for your
2022
on-point math skills that we needed tonight.
Amanda, have you seen the trailer of The Gary Man?
You mean The Gray Man? Yeah, I've seen the trailer for the Gray
Man. Speaking of Gray Man, we haven't talked about the. What do you think about the trailer of Thor?
Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get to see what was the best part about that trailer?
You mean besides Natalie Portman's arms? Or are you not naked Thor? Or is it Russell Crowe's accent?
Ain't no way. Nobody's
what
choosing
the heck what is Russell Crowe going for with her
over naked? What's his face? Chris Hemsworth.
It's all blurred out.
They actually made a pop figure of that, like pixelated.
Is he naked?
Yeah, it's pixelated pop figure.
No, he is not. They did that. Oh
look at
God.
That. Naked Thor, part, right? Naked Thor.
Yeah, Naked Thor. It's with
Natalie Portman looking all jacked.
Oh, she is. I think I have a picture of her in here because I was gonna make a joke. Yeah, look at that.
Look at those arms.
But again, I'm still confused. Are they gonna make it romantic? Are they gonna make it romantic? Because there was like a cut scene in the trailer where it looked like they were like trying to hold hands or something.
That's my dude creeping on Thor.
Well, he has every I don't blame him because she looks fantastic. But
when you look like that, though, right?
Yeah, I still don't know where they're gonna take it.
It was funny that she was like, "Oh, it's been a while. What's it been like 5 years?" And he was like, 8 years, 6 months, 3 days, or something like that.
Yeah,
I thought that was funny.
It was great, but yeah, I'm really interested. I mean, it's intrigued me even more, but I'm still on the fence about how I feel about gore.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. Honestly, I kind of prefer the first teaser trailer that you and I did a reaction with than this one. This one feels like they didn't add much. It looks like they're still taking some shots, and honestly, I don't need any more. But that's the thing, though. I also said I don't need.
What we got is Russell Crowe in it. Is really Russell Crowe and gore is what we got in this one.
Yeah, and gore just looks interesting. I mean, obviously they have to make him look different from the comic books, of course. I don't know if they're going to add CG. It's just weird that he's wearing white instead of black, so he's not creepy. Yeah. I don't know what they're going to do with the character. If we're being real, they should get all unknowns to play the Fantastic Four. A man after my own heart. That's exactly what I said about Wolverine every time.
What he always says about most of the characters.
I don't need. I mean, it's Marvel. People are going to go watch these movies. You don't need. You don't need Angelina Jolie.
Well, clearly it didn't help them with Eternals at all by having
people were still going to go watch Eternals regardless of who was playing them. We got the Necro that we did. The MCU. Thor's now an idiot along with every other superhero. I don't think he's an idiot. I mean, he's going from dad bod to god bod, right?
Yeah, he got back in shape.
By the way, the MCU is one of the funniest things. Is it because legacy characters are taking over like they did in the comic books that people are going to gripe about legacy characters taking over in the movies? What are you going to do though? Like these are real live actors that are aging. They can't sign on for 20 years.
I mean, look at Robert Downey Jr. left. Look at what he looks like now. I mean, RDJ. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. Look at what he's like. If you look at him now, since he's left the MCU, I mean, that took a toll on him.
Well,
the presidency takes a toll on a president. I mean, being that he is like being the poster boy for Marvel for 10 years. I mean, he's let the gray out. He's got it going. It's just like
I think of like Hugh Jackman. He was like, I'm done working out 4 hours a day. That's insane.
Yeah, he doesn't want to have to eat fish all the time, guys.
50-year-old plus.
Now Chris Hemsworth will keep doing it, but he's different.
Because Chris Hemsworth will find comedy, and then he'll be like,
he is finding comedy.
Like he'll find comedy, and people will start hiring him doing comedic roles. He'll do a reboot of National Lampoon's Vacation or something like that, and then he can be like, you know what? I don't need to work out anymore. I can just be like, I'm good to go. Tom Cruise will never stop, though. No, Tom Cruise is crazy. I just saw.
Yeah, he's also like, it's that Scientology, man. He's at a whole other level.
Say what you will about Tom Cruise, like he gives it all. Like the man jumped off of a freaking building. He climbed on the side of an airplane. What the hell? Like, who does that for
He
movies?
goes all out.
Glad y'all are talking about this topic. Besides
Yeah.
Lucas sci-fi, racism, and this interest in directing actors, he told a bold and fascinating story about how easy a young man decides to be a fascist.
Yeah, I do like
I
when he
think
makes
and it really goes back to the theory. And in contrast, what thoughtful statement did J.J. Abrams make in his 2 SW films? Evil is bad, real, original. Thanks for that, bro. Laughing my ass off. I will tell you this, though. When my daughter and I went to see The Force Awakens, I will say this. Like, I enjoyed the movie. I didn't think it was that bad. But when Rey picks up the lightsaber, my daughter clapped. And I thought that was a wonderful moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just reminded me of going to see Return of the Jedi with my dad and seeing all this stuff, all the Jedis fighting, or seeing Luke fight Darth Vader and stuff. So I thought that was really cool. It was almost like coming full circle.
Agreed.
So I don't know what kind of message JJ got to tell, since George had, kind of signed the deal off, and he was like, do whatever you want to with these characters.
Yeah, I don't blame him. He's done his
Didn't
part.
Feige say they're no longer doing multi-movie contracts anymore? I don't know.
Probably. I can imagine they would do that. I mean, I know that with Thor, with Chris Hemsworth, I think it's pretty much he's signing on as he wants to keep doing it. And that's how they got Thor 4. Because realistically, he should have been done after Ragnarok. But he still had more story to tell. Or I guess Taika did.
Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher are now digital forever actors. That is so true.
At least so is Stan Lee.
That's another crap. I don't know about that. Chris Hemsworth in Airplane 3. Bravo, sir. Yes.
That would be amazing.
I legit just watched Star Wars to see pew pew guns. I feel bad for Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. I feel like they're introducing new female characters and are focusing on them having personality. Do y'all care for Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
The movie, I wasn't the biggest fan of that movie, but
he doesn't have a lot of personality, and it's gonna be really interesting to see her with the other Marvel's characters, because even Ms. Marvel in her trailer does have a lot of personality. Obviously,
she's a spunky kid, right?
Yeah, she's a spunky kid. And then Monica, she was great in WandaVision. I mean, that's gonna be they're gonna have to really up, I don't know, Brie Larson's game, I guess, and give her. I say everyone has to have personality. Everyone has to be quipping all the time, but we argue that's a downfall of.
But if you think about it, though, like, look how boring like T'Challa was in the first Black Panther movie, and it was the ladies that stole the show.
Oh,
right?
they 100%.
Like,
yeah,
it was the ladies. At least for me, it was the ladies that stole the show. Definitely not the CGI in that movie.
Okoye was fantastic. Yeah, sure.
But and then I think of like Thor 2, like that. Chris Hemsworth was kind of bland in Thor 2.
They had to bring in Tom Hiddleston and add more to him.
Yeah, exactly. So they can play off of those kind of characters. So you kind of need a boring type of character, and you have somebody like Kamala Khan, and they can kind of play off of each other and maybe bring out the bad. I don't know what they're going to do with those movies.
Yeah, I'm still not sure what.
I will say I do want to go back and rewatch Captain Marvel to do was it really that bad with Captain Marvel?
Yeah,
just because I haven't seen it in so many years. I love Mission Impossible, dude. I'm all for Mission Impossible movies. Like, as soon as I hear that beat, I love those movies.
Yeah,
they're great. Carol Danvers is so shallow in the MCU. Yeah, you know what's sad about that is that people can't separate that character from the comic books.
Oh, the comic book.
Oh, and I'm sorry, and also the actress. You're right. Like, it seems like I don't even know what the hell she said, but people got upset about what she said.
Yeah,
and we can't separate it from the character. And then that rolls into the comic. So anytime I'm talking about a Captain Marvel comic, there's always like one or two people, Captain Marvel or Showboard. I'm like, oh yeah. Tell me what Captain Marvels you've read. And they're like, I haven't read any others. I'm just basing it on the movies. It just
and the actress, like, and there's more than that.
JJ made a sci-fi version of Weekend at Bernie's called Rise of Skywalker with Princess Leia being JJ. Oh man. Captain Marvel is Marvel's Wonder Woman, and Captain Marvel is very, very... Oh, really? Over Wonder Woman. I like Gal, though. Oof. Gal won me over. I did not see Gal as Wonder Woman. Black Panther movie made Black Panther an idiot. Black Panther should be the smartest guy in the room. Yeah.
No, I think that Dr. Strange made
I have issues with that movie. Why do people want to cancel Chris Pratt as Star-Lord? I don't know. Why do people want to cancel anybody? Are people trying to cancel Chris
It's just
Pratt?
his personal beliefs. That's it.
What is okay? Never mind. That's a different topic. The MI movie is my version of the Fast Saga, dude. Right? I love the MI movies. It gets over, but you don't need CGI because you got Tom Cruise actually going to space. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to start wrapping this up. It is 10:30.
You're right. We
for a couple of hours. Don't have any more beer. The
amazing. Neither do I, and I have field day tomorrow, so
I gotta go to some kind of graduate. Seems like Brie Larson is reinventing her career, though. Good for her. Anything else, Amazing Amanda?
No, that's everything. We will be back on Friday at our normal time to talk about the 2 first episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the original Disney Plus series that will be premiering on the 27th. So make sure to tune in for that. And of course, we'll talk about whatever news pops up between now and then as well.
Oh, please let it be good news.
Yes, we don't know. We need some good news.
Crap news that we've like, oh, we got to talk about that. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much
for making this fun as always.
Yes,
everyone stay healthy and safe. Oh, Amanda, sign us off.
No, you got.
No, you're doing it.
So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember to follow us on all of our social media channels at NearMintCon. Check us out on Spreadshop if you want some great Near Mint Edition merchandise. And then also check us out on Patreon for $1 a month or more. Us in what we do every night in providing you amazing content and our unsolicited opinions about movies like Attack of the Clones. And last but not least, if it's classy and cool, it must be Near Mint. Have a good evening, guys. Good journey, and we'll see you guys on Friday.
Bye, everybody. Good journey.